Yo, what's going on, guys? XD Gaming here. Welcome back to another movie review video, and this will be the third video of movie review. And in today's episode, we will be going over Friday the 13th, Part 3. So I have done the past two Friday the 13th in my movie review series, and now I will be going over Friday the 13th, Part 3. So, I counted 13 kills in this kill count, but I counted a pregnant lady as 2 people, just because, why not? Just to add one more to the kill count. So yeah, that's what I did, and we will be going over it. So Friday the 13th Part 2 came out August 13th, 1982, and was directed by Steve Miner. Pretty sure. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I am not a professional at this. I am not certified to be reviewing this movie whatsoever. Because it is a movie that came out in the 80s, and this movie came out 23 years before I was born, so I really shouldn't be reviewing this, but I am, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah. So Friday the 13th, Part 3. Numero tres. Roman numeral, I. Okay. Let's get into this. So, once you start up Part 3 is in 3D, so, at least my disc was, but I'm pretty sure they made the movie in 3D, because, they have, at least the disc had choices between 3D and 2D. Obviously, watch it in 2D. We don't got 3D glasses. And plus, we wouldn't want to watch it in that anyways. But you could tell it was in 3D because they kept trying to make stuff come out at you. And you could tell, like, one time they had, like, a bat come out at you. They had Jason's hands come out at you. I mean, you could tell the funny parts where they were definitely making people come after you. So anyways, let's start off. So it starts off from the ending of Part 2. It shows, Jenny going into Jason's, little house thing and finding Jason's mom's head, putting on the sweater and stuff like that. This is the movie where Jason gets his hockey mask. I was wrong. I think I said last time that this was the one with Tommy Jarvis in it. But I think that's Part 4. So, yeah, this is definitely not the one with him in it. So, anyways, this shows another scene from the ending of Part 2. It saw Jason actually taking out the machete from his shoulder, which it did not show last time. So right after he did that, it rolled the credits. So the movie begins at it shows Camp Crystal Lake. I thought it was a diner. I think it was actually just a general store. But it starts with the guy and a girl, a married couple, and they look like kind of like white trash. The guy has, I don't know, just kind of like basic white trash. Married couple, girl's yelling at the guy. Well, anyway, the girl was watching the news, and she was watching the news of Friday the 13th Part 2, and they were talking about the 8 people that get killed, stuff like that. Well, anyway, the girl sees a man outside. She sees a man outside, and she thinks it's her husband, but it's definitely not her husband. So then it cuts to the guy. It cuts to her actual husband, and he's in the store, and he tries fish food for some reason. I don't know why, but he's feeding the fish, and he ended up trying fish food. Um, and then he ends up taking stuff. He starts taking food off of the shelf, which, like, he's in his store, and then he takes, like, food off the shelf, eats it, puts it back on the shelf. Like, yeah, that guy just looked like an a-hole, honestly. Anyways, he finds dead bunny, and because he has, like, bunny cages or whatever. So he finds a dead bunny, and he opens up the cage, and a snake jumps out at him. And that was, like, the first 3D thing they had in there, but that was funny. And he almost got bit by a snake. Well, anyways, he goes back inside, gets on the John, and gets up because he thinks he hears something. And he ends up getting hit with a cleaver straight in the head. And then the girl goes to look for him, and she gets, she was sewing, and she gets, sorry I keep saying she gets hit from behind through the neck with a sewing needle, knitting needle, or whatever. Not sewing, with a knitting needle, so that was a pretty good kill. This movie, it has some pretty decent kills in it, so yeah. Anyways, give me a sec, I have to text someone. Anyways, it cuts to the kids in a van. Cuts to the kids in the van, and they go out to meet their friend that they drove up to their friend's house, and there's a bunch of kids in a hippie van. Well, the van starts smoking, and they think it's on fire, so they run over to the van, open the door, and it's just two of their other friends that are high freaking smoking bongs, because they're like the two high people that pretty much smoke everything. Well, anyway, the cops start driving up behind them while they're driving to, I'll tell you later. The cops start driving up behind them, and the kids start trying to destroy the evidence. They start trying to shovel in weed in their mouths, trying to chew it all up. It's hilarious. And then that's when we figure out the one girl's pregnant. So one of the girls is pregnant, and she looks way too young to be pregnant, but whatever. Yeah, I'm sure just younger people get pregnant, so yeah. Anyways, so they start pulling over because the cops are coming after them. Cops drive straight by them. They were all pissed because they just pretty much ate all their weed and didn't get it to enjoy it. And for the fact that they just ate it. I don't think that's the best way to get high. If that gets you high at all, I don't know. I know there's like edibles, but that's baked in, so I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but whatever. Anyways, so the cops arrive on the scene of a diner or something like that, and they end up taking someone away in like a body bag or something. So I don't know if that was foreshadowing. Wait, okay. I didn't understand that scene. But those were the dead bodies from the beginning scene. Okay. Now I sound like an idiot. Yeah, I didn't understand that. Now I understand, yeah. Because those were the dead people from the beginning scene, so yeah. Anyways, they keep driving, and they have to stop all of a sudden because they see this old man just sitting in the middle of the road. And so they all get out to look at him, and he's just sitting there. He doesn't even know where he is. He thinks he's in heaven. But then he shows them an eyeball he found from the remains of someone or something. So they all get afraid of him. He starts talking some mumbo jumbo. They get in the van and just dip. I don't know why they added that scene in the movie. Probably another 3D effect because it shoved the eyeball right in your face. So, anyways, so the van pulls up on Higgins Haven, it was called. They didn't really mention that, but it was basically just a farm. That's what it was. It was just a farm. I don't even know if that's on Camp Crystal Lake or what. But yeah. So, all the other, I wouldn't even call them counselors. They're just friends. They go out to go swimming or something, and the girl goes inside, and she gets scared by her boyfriend, and I guess it's her boyfriend, or something. But apparently something happened to her. We found out like either 3 years ago, or I wasn't sure when that happened. But something happened to her, so I'll tell you what happened later. But she got scared by her boyfriend that looks older than her, which I don't even know if it was her boyfriend. But yeah. Or it's at least someone she likes. And then she goes out and she goes back out to the van, and she was like, this girl was here at this farm before, and she got together with this guy, and his name's Rick, and his dad owns the place. But anyway, they're basically just staying there. All these friends are. Anyways, gets scared by her boyfriend, yeah. So she goes out to the van. She thinks the van door was closed, but finds she thinks it was closed because she's really paranoid because of something that happened to her. But she finds Shelly, and he says he's not skinny enough to go skinny dipping, which was kind of funny because he's like the fat one, but yeah. Anyways, so they go up to their room, and there's this one couple, the couple that has the pregnant girl, and they, apparently their room has no bed, it just has a hammock in it, and then it cuts to a scene, where they're lifting straw bales up into the hayloft or whatever, which they called it hay bales when they're straw bales. I'm pretty sure, at least. Because hay bales are the giant big ones, aren't they? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the tiny ones that they put up in the loft are straw. But at least that's what my mom thought. But it could be wrong. Anyway, they all hear a scream, and they go running into like this tiny little cabinet area, and they open it up. And it turns out to be Shelly, and he has an axe or like a hatchet inside his head, and he falls out of it. And then he takes it off as a prop because it turns out to be fake. He's the jokester. I swear, there's a jokester in the last movie, and there's a jokester in the last movie after that. So there's a jokester in part 1, part 2, and now part 3. They always have to have a jokester. And they usually always get it, but, I mean, in part 2, he didn't get it, so I don't know. Anyways, Anyways, Shelly gets mad and he ends up getting a ride to the grocery store with this other girl that's chilling there. And she has to go to the grocery store to get something. I forget what it was. But he begs her to take him with her. And, anyways, at the grocery store, she asked Shelly to give him his, because she can't pay with food stamps. So she has to have Shelly give him some money, give her some money. So Shelly throws her his wallet, but then another girl steps on it, and as she's picking it up, and basically picks it up and does not let the girl get it, and two big thugs pretty much jump Shelly. They pick him up or whatever. Anyways, this girl has to tell this biker girl that stole the wallet that she has to like say thanks, or can I have the wallet? May I have the wallet, please, ma'am, or something like that. And she gives it to him. They were just giving them a hard time. But then Shelly accidentally drives the car because he was driving because the girl was mad, so she didn't want to hit someone or crash or something. He accidentally drove it in reverse and freaking ran over the guy's bikes. So he drives forward and meets like the guy that's standing there, and he has a chain, and he freaking just hits his hand through the window and just shatters all the car's windows. So, yeah. Yeah, and then Shelly freaking decided to drive back and run over the guy's tire because he's like, the guy's gone too far or something like that. So, yeah, whatever. The acting in this movie is not very good, I'm going to tell you that. Anyways, the couple drives off and... Wait. Yeah, so Rick and Chris, they were mad. Rick was mad because that was his car that they drove off in, and now he has shattered windshield. So him and Chris drive off, and then the biker gang pulls up, and they bring gas cans, and they start siphoning the van's gas out of their van. And then the biker girl decides to go into the barn, and she starts checking out everything. And then she falls down, and she almost lands on the pitchfork while she's in the barn. And then she goes up to the loft. And then the one biker dude goes to the barn and with the gas can and gets ready to start burning the barn down. But then the biker girl, she was hanging off of like the hayloft crane, and then she just randomly disappears. So the guy goes inside the wall. He goes inside the barn and goes up to the hayloft to look for her, and she got stuck to the wall with a pitchfork. So that was great. So the guy, you could tell he's freaking wide-eyed when he saw that. So the guy gets, and then that guy that saw her gets stuck with the pitchfork himself. And then that and then when the other biker dude comes up to look for that biker dude, he falls on top of him. And and then that guy got mad, so he grabbed like a knife or something and decided to try to kill whoever saw it. And then he met Jason, and Jason just dodged the knife real quick and then just freaking beat him with a club. So that was cool. So Chris and Rick drove the car out to a lake, and they're basically, and then it cuts to Shelly and another guy, the guy that's with the pregnant girl. They're having a juggling contest, but then the pregnant girl basically convinces the guy to stop so they can go have sex. And then the one girl bends down to like do something with the fire, and then Shelly takes a peek at the girl's ass, because that's just kind of what kind of guy he is. And then he basically asks her out, and then she tells him down. And then he calls her a bitch, even though he's the one that's being a bitch. And then it cuts to the guy and girl the pregnant girl and the guy having sex in a hammock, since they don't have a bed. Anyways, it cuts to Chris and Rick basically talking on the river, and she tells them about the night that this thing happened. So this is a flashback to why she's so like afraid of everything. She came home from something, and her parents were really pissed at her, and her mom slapped her or something, so she ran out of the house, ran into the woods, and she basically like hid right next to a tree. Anyway, she heard rumbling in the woods, so she thought it's her dad coming to look for her, so she just stayed silent. But it actually turned out to be Jason, and he tackled her or something, and she ended up kicking his knife away and running away, but then he dragged her back in, and she ended up blacking out, and all that she remembers is waking up on her bed, and her parents never spoke of the night again. So yeah, they never really mentioned what happened, how she escaped from Jason, but maybe she just doesn't remember it or something, because she hit her head, and she just doesn't remember what she did. But anyway, the guy and the girl that were smoking the bong in the beginning, the high guy, I just call him the high guy and high girl, because they're all high the whole time. They just keep smoking blunts. Goes out into the woods to the outhouse, and then once he's done in the outhouse, he sees Shelly go into the barn. So him and the high girl decide they're going to go, pretty much just the high girl. He didn't want to do it because he was pretty much being a pussy. But anyways, they want to go into the barn where Shelly is, and they want to basically scare him because he scared them. So they want to get him back. But they don't find him. They don't find anyone, so they basically leave. They tried to scare him with an axe, though, but... Anyway, it cuts to the girl down by the docks. The girl they had to pick up in the beginning. It cuts to her by the docks, and it cuts to her leg getting pulled down in under the water. And this is the girl that turned down Shelly. Anyways, her leg got pulled in, and it scared her, but it just turned out to be Shelly in a wetsuit. And she got pissed at that time. She got pissed at Shelly. And then, but the thing was, the most important part about this scene Well, Shelly was wearing the hockey mask, the famous hockey mask. And that was the first time you've ever seen that hockey mask in a Friday the 13th movie. Anyway, Shelly walks into the barn after that, and then it cuts to the girl at the docks, and she accidentally dropped Shelly's wallet, because for some reason, I don't understand why, but she still had Shelly's wallet, so she accidentally dropped it into the water. So that was a big oops. So she has to go in and get it. And then it cuts to Jason. So it doesn't say what happened to Shelly, but it cuts to Jason wearing the hockey mask. So that's the first time you've ever seen Jason wearing the hockey mask, and that is for the better, because I like his hockey mask. I'm pretty sure everyone likes his hockey mask, and it's famous with the that and the machete, which he only uses like maybe like an eighth or 16th of the time, is probably the most famous things of Friday the 13th. Anyway, so Jason walks down to the docks, and for some reason she couldn't tell by the height, but she just thought it was Shelly. She just thought it was Shelly again, and she kept saying, "Shelly, cut it off," or something like that. But then Jason points the spear gun at her that Shelly had with the wetsuit or something. For some reason, I don't know why. It wasn't even part of his scare, but I don't even know why he had the hockey mask on, really. I mean, all he did was try to pull her leg. Anyways, he pointed the spear gun at her. I guess the hockey mask and spear gun were all just for Jason, so the wetsuit was just for him. So he pointed the spear gun at her and frickin' shot the spear, and it went right through her head. So no, Jason's never used a gun, but he's used a spear gun. So I guess it's a kind of gun, so I don't know. It's not a normal gun, though. But yeah, it went right through her eye, I think. So that was a sick kill. Anyway, so after that kill, Jason walks into the cabin, and it cuts to the guy and the girl having sex in the hammock, and he basically asks her if she goes to take a shower, and he asks her if she wants a beer, which at this point, this was a huge red flag for me and my mom, because it was like, isn't she pregnant? She's drinking beer and she's pregnant? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Anyways, so that guy was doing a handstand for some reason. So he was practicing his handstand. But anyways, he was practicing his handstands, walking down to get a beer. And Jason takes, I think, a machete and splits him right down the middle. Right between his legs, right down the middle. Ooh, that was a gruesome kill, and that was nice. I'm stretching. Anyway, she decides she's going to change her mind about the beer, which is a good thing because, she's pregnant. Or at least supposedly. Maybe the movie just forgot about that. Anyways, but there's no one to hear that because, one, she didn't say it loud enough, and, two, he was dead. Anyway, she lies in the hammock, looks up in the hammock, and sees him, split in two, hanging, up on the ceiling or something. And then she gets, and then she gets grabbed like this from behind and poked through a machete through her neck. Exactly like the kill from the first movie with Kevin Bacon. I think they might have had one in the second movie like that as well. But yeah, exactly like that kill. And I guess that's kind of just like an infamous kill on Friday the 13th. Anyways, the high girl makes the high guy, when the lights go out, go check the fuse box. So he goes to check the fuse box, but then Shelly comes in with his throat slit, and he's still kind of alive, and he's acting like it. Or he isn't acting like it. He's like actually trying to reach or whatever. And then to her, one, Shelly was being a prankster at the beginning anyways, so she just thought he was playing another prank. And two, she was probably high enough where she couldn't realize the difference between real blood and fake blood. She doesn't believe him, and she thinks he's just playing a prank. So it cuts to the high guy in the fuse box, and Jason pulls up on him, and he throws his head into the fuse box, and it starts shocking all around and stuff. So that was a pretty cool kill. Anyways, well, I think the high girl finally realized that after Shelly like collapsed onto the floor and she like looked at the blood, she realized that Shelly was actually dead. So she starts trying to look for her boyfriend or whatever, and then Jason comes in, sticks a fire poker into the fire, gets it red hot, and pokes it through her stomach. Ugh. That was a good kill. Anyways, so the last people alive are Chris and Rick now. So Chris and Rick came back and looked for everyone. But then while she's yelling for everyone, Rick went out to look for the generator or something because it was still dark or whatever, I think. I don't remember what he was doing. But Jason takes Rick behind the corner of the house and holds his mouth shut so he can't say anything. And then one of the most infamous kills in Friday the 13th, he freaking crushes his skull with his hands. And then, or actually, I don't know if it's an infamous kill, but he crushes his whole skull with his hand and makes it so his eye pops out. And then, since it was 3D, his eye like popped out and made it like a 3D effect or whatever. I don't know. I think they could have done a better job with the kill. I mean, I like the thought of the kill, but they could have done a better job with making it look realer. But anyways, Chris goes up to the bathroom because the bathtub was like overflowing or something, and she finds blood-soaked clothes in the bathtub, and so she gets afraid. She starts looking for Rick. She starts calling for Rick. She runs out, and then she trips into a biker hanging from a tree. I think the second biker or whatever, hanging from a tree, and then she runs back in the house, and the window and the door kept opening, so she kept trying to close them because of because it was snowing outside. Anyway, so Rick gets thrown through the window. Jason comes in through the window. Then she runs upstairs. She throws bookshelves down. A bunch of books hit Jason on the top of the head. She locks herself into a closet, and then she finds a dead body inside. She screams, and that way Jason was able to find the closet. She grabs the knife out of the dead body's skull, and then Jason breaks through the door with an axe and unlocks the door himself and opens the door. Then but before he's able to, she stabs him. Then then she runs out. She keeps trying to stab him, but he keeps dodging him like this. Like he kept going, ooh, 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 ooh. He kept dodging him while walking backwards. But then he must have like tripped or something, and his knee came out, and she stabbed him in the knee. And then she runs back into a different room, but he grabs a knife out, throws it at her, and it hits the door frame instead of her. But he got close. And then she ended up opening the window, and then she tried to jump out the window, but Jason grabs her, but her shirt rips, so then she falls onto the ground, and then she runs up onto like this porch area and grabs like a big stone block or something. I wasn't really sure what it is, but she throws it at she hits Jason with it, and then she runs into the van, and this time the van actually started, so she drives away. And then he appears in the middle of the road, but she steps on the gas even harder, and so it makes it so Jason has to jump out of the way. Then the van ran out of gas, because if you remember, they were siphoning gas from it. So the van doesn't have any more gas. But then by the time she realized that it had no gas in it, so she hit the reserve tank. But by the time she hit the reserve tank, the van sinks because it was on a bridge. So one of the wheels sink into the bridge. So then Jason comes up to the window, grabs her, but she rolls up the window and traps Jason's arms in it. Then she locks herself. Then she runs into the barn, puts a shovel between the two doors things that stick out, and then Jason comes in. He puts the actual beam that you're supposed to in it, and locks it behind him. So, and then she is hiding on the barn support beam, and she accidentally slips down while Jason is looking for her, and she falls on top of Jason. So she goes and tries to lift up the barn thing, but she can't lift up the barn door. So she hits Jason with the shovel. Then Jason with wait, no. Okay, so she tries to open the barn door. Then she runs up to the hayloft and puts a hay bale in front of the ladder. Jason easily pushes the hay bale up. I mean, she should have stuck it into the ladder, but Jason easily picked up the hay bale. So, anyways, he gets up there and she grabs a shovel, hits him with the shovel, then hangs Jason on the barn straw lift or whatever. She ties it around him as a noose and pretty much puts him out, and it hangs him. So I'm pretty sure that's pretty famous, but so then she opens the door to Jason just hanging there. She opens the barn door, and then Jason pulls himself up and then unties it from his head, and then the biker that was still alive that got beaten with the club appears out of nowhere and tries to save her, but Jason cuts off his arm with one clean swipe with his machete, and then starts just slashing at him. Pretty sure to just buy her more time in the movie. Anyway, Jason turns around and she puts an axe right into Jason's skull. And then it took him a while, but then Jason falls down. And then she gets in a canoe and floats out, basically like the movie. She floats out into the water. Then she sees Jason in one of the windows of the houses, and Jason comes out of the house, and then he just disappears. And then Jason's mom comes out of the water and grabs her and pulls her back down. Like Jason's mom's deformed body, even though her head was cut off. And then it cuts to the cops coming, and they figure out that all of that about the lake that she said was all just a hallucination, and she gets put in the back of a cop car, because they say they're gonna bring her to like the hospital or something, but she starts laughing and crying, and she is turned crazy. She needs to calm down. I mean, I don't know. I mean, a deranged killer. Because I forgot to mention that Jason actually like pulled up his mask and actually showed it was like his deformed face, because Jason with the deformed face was the one who did that to her at the beginning. She did it to her a few years back. And so knowing that this guy basically came back at her just made her crazy or whatever. But anyways, that definitely did not kill Jason, even though it basically claimed it killed Jason. Nothing could kill Jason. Jason never dies. I mean, that's why I'm still making these videos. So, yeah. Anyways, guys, now it's my time to rate this. So, for a 1980s movie, 1982, I will give it a 6. Just because the acting was terrible, the 3D effects were cringy. The acting was just terrible. The storyline was just dumb. I mean, the story was good, kind of, but I don't know. It just having them like at a farm for no reason, and then Chris and Rick go off to a lake while everyone else gets killed, and then they come back, and then I don't know. I just didn't see it as a good film, but whatever. So I'll give this a 6 out of 10, 1980s. If I would watch it today, probably either a 2 or a 1. I would give it a 1. Let's just say that. It's quality. And I'm going to give it a 3. I'm going to rate it a 3. Just for the fact that it had bad acting, bad effects. Some of the kills, I'm going to give it a 3. Just for the fact that some of the kills were alright. But the kill where they smashed his head in could have been good, but they made it terrible. I'm going to give it a 3. I would give it lower. I'd give it a 3. Solely because this is the movie that gives Jason the hockey mask. And that's important. So that is the only thing that makes this film important. Is because of that reason. And it makes it pretty important. But yeah. So Friday the 13th. Part 3 out of 10. Yeah, I was disappointed with that one. I know the other ones get stupid as well, but at least they won't have the dumb 3D effects. I mean, 3D was cool when it came out. I get that. And that's why I gave it a 6 out of 10 in the 80s. But since this is 2020 in 3D effects. There's no new movies coming out with 3D effects that I've heard of, or I'm pretty sure they just, no, they don't. And I don't think movie theaters show 3D anymore, so yeah. So, yeah, people just, the craze died down and people realized, hey, this is pretty cringy, and yeah, they stopped. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this movie review. Hit that like and subscribe button if you liked the video. Follow my social media down in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video vlog or stream. Peace!